Good afternoon, Robert Scribbler. It is August 2nd, 2018. Thank you for joining me for another climate change and clean energy video blog. Now, for this segment, I am going to examine the wildfire potential for Portugal as it begins to get into some very severe record heat that is predicted to be quite extreme over the coming days. I'd like to point out this comment by Bob Henson, who's an expert over at Weather Underground, who was talking with Paulo Fernandes, who notes that Portugal has fortunately had a wet winter and spring, and so grasses, which are fuels for fires across Portugal, are not as dry as usual, and that's a little bit of good news. But would like to point out that right now Portugal is facing some very severe heat and very dry air rising up from the Sahara Desert and into southern and central Portugal and into much of the Iberian Peninsula. And this is a satellite shot of Portugal and Spain for today. And as we can see, that the skies are mostly very clear here. We've got no indication of wildfires in the NASA shot, so no hot spots, no major smoke plumes or any areas that would indicate a wildfire. So that's good news for Portugal. But looking at the Earth null skull map, we note that temperatures across Portugal and parts of the Iberian Peninsula are now getting extraordinarily hot. This reading showing, this is a GFS model reading showing 44 degrees Celsius, which is well in the upper 100s, so very degree Fahrenheit, so very hot conditions right now across Portugal, very dry conditions. And as we can see, this runs into Spain, into southern Spain, with a 44 degrees Celsius reading, which is also in the upper 100s degrees Fahrenheit, and also above 40 degrees Celsius, continuing for most of southern and central Portugal. Now, over the next few days, these extreme high temperatures are expected to continue for Portugal, with potential to get up into the upper 40s, and some models showing as much as 51 degrees Celsius potential over the coming days. Now, that hasn't happened yet, but if it does happen, it would be a major new record. Now, going back to the drought map, we just would like to note that soil moisture across Europe and across most of Europe is much lower than normal, in association with repeated heat waves and an ongoing drought for much of the region. And this has also helped to amplify daytime heating for much of the region due to less evaporative cooling. But for Portugal, soil moisture levels are in many cases above average, and this is a bit of a defense. Now, looking at the Copernicus Observatory, we find that the fire situation, the fire risk, despite these higher soil moisture levels across southern Portugal, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and add the legend so you can see. So this is the fire danger forecast as of August 2nd, and what it is showing is that much of southern Portugal shows extreme fire danger, and this extreme fire danger runs into much of southern Spain, with very high fire danger and high fire danger covering most of Portugal. So despite the added moisture in grasses, which would be a bit of a defense against fire hazard, these extreme high temperatures and extreme dry conditions are noted, at least in the Copernicus monitor, as contributing to extreme danger for large portions of Portugal when it comes to wildfires. Now, one other thing to think about is that strong swings between wet and hot conditions, and which can be a signal of human-caused climate change, can actually increase fire risk, because during the wet periods you have more vegetative bloom, and if you swing hard into hot and dry periods, this increased vegetation can provide more fuel for fires. So it can be a bit of there's a bit of a double-edged sword there. And so looking forward over the coming days as this heat settles in, especially if the heat lasts for a long period, the hot and dry periods last for a long time, the new vegetative growth can flip from a bit of a defense to rapidly drying out and serving as fuels for fires. So we're going to have to watch this situation for Portugal, because with the heat there is certain and the dryness, there's certainly increased fire danger potential, and overall this is a signal of human-caused climate change, in that increasing land surface temperatures and increasingly intense rainfall in some cases can serve as a combined effect that increase fire risks. And overall, wildfire potentials across the world are rising due to increasing global temperatures. Now, thank you for joining me, and I'll be chatting with you soon.